They're lying. You can do things to help improve your hair's density, but your hair's density may not look like my hair's density, her hair density, her, and her. Hey baddies, it's your girl Bevy with HairScripts, and on this channel you come here for edutainment, okay? Yeah, edutainment. You come here for education on how to really grow your hair and how to stop hair loss. So this is what you come here for. You go everywhere else for entertainment. So as much as I would love to entertain you, I'm a little lazy. I really am, and I'm trying to get to the point where I could like get up and do some TikTok dances and, you know, do the things so that I could keep your attention, okay? But for those of you who are experiencing hair loss, you don't give a damn because your hair is really falling out and you've tried everything and you've drank the gasoline and you've thrown the kitchen sink on your scalp and ain't nothing work, and you here because you're like, nah, we really need to know how this works, okay? I'm here for you and you're here for me. So today we're going to talk about the role of genetics in hair growth and hair loss, so especially what that means for black and brown women. No, hair is not hair and skin is not skin. Come for me in the comments. Come for me in the comments. I need to boost my engagement, please, okay? Yes, it does matter. It does matter. You know, first of all, there's genetic predispositions, especially for black and brown women. And then at the end of the day, like, there's just things that, you know, does and does not happen for us based on our DNA. Even the way you treat our skin should be different, right? You don't treat our skin, or you should not treat our skin the same way you would treat Caucasian skin, etc. Because at the end of the day, our skin is more prone to scarring and keloids, etc. Right? So the same applies to our scalp and follicle health on a more granular level. So let's understand genetics and hair growth and the role that plays in black and brown women. Let's just jump right into it. And I'm gonna look at my notes, okay? Because I just have to. So hair follicles within themselves are structures that are determined by genetics, okay? So they play a main role in the texture of your hair, the density of your hair, the growth rate of your hair. Yes, that means your hair texture. I'm not even gonna say I'm 3 anything anymore, because a lot of y'all be fighting like, oh, you ain't 3, you this, you that. I don't care. Like, my hair is fine. What that means is that my strands are paper thin. In fact, I'm hating on people who got thicker strands, okay? Because they don't just break because you blow on them, okay? My strands are very fine, which means they're cotton soft, and I need a lot of them to look like there's something going on my scalp, okay? Now, some of y'all may find that a problem and feel that I'm a little because my strands are thin, but on the other hand, the grass is greener, okay? Everywhere. But it's really greener where you water it. Let that sit, okay? But yes, your hair texture is determined by genetics, duh, the obvious, but also the density of your hair. So when I'm giving you strategies to help you thicken your hair, to get your hair denser, when you're on these internet YouTube streets and you see people tell you, oh my gosh, I ate rocks. Oh my gosh, I drank gasoline and my hair is now this thick. They're lying. You can do things to help improve your hair's density, but your hair's density may not look like my hair's density, her hair density, her, and her, or hers. At the end of the day, like, it is based on your density. The best example I have for that is, like, you know what I'm saying? We all talk about you could go build a butt in the gym. And while you can build a butt that is for you, that it works for you, the truth is you will never have Bertha's butt. You just won't. I mean, you won't. It is what it is, right? Unless you go get a BBL and then you could send Bertha, you can give Bertha a run for her money. And then in that case, you can build a butt. But as far as naturally building a butt in the gym, yes, you can give your glutes more action and you can get a little bit more of a rounded butt that's respectful to you and your genetics. But unless you're doing surgery, it's not gonna ever be big like Bertha's butt. That's the point that I'm trying to make, okay? Also, the rate of your hair growth. That means that I could sit here and tell you, which I tell you all the time, that the key to hair growth is activating the anagen phase. And I'm gonna create a video that's specific to the science behind activating the anagen phase, keeping you in full hair growth mode at most times, not all times, but at most times, like if you were pregnant, right? But even if we activate the anagen phase, it is not a race to see whose hair is gonna get down to their butt the quickest, because your hair may stop here. It may stop there. Someone's hair may grow longer. My hair may grow longer, which has never been a problem for me, but someone else's hair is gonna grow thicker, and I'm always jelly, okay? I'm always upset with these thick chicks out here, okay? But anyway, so that's what that means. It also, if we're going more on a granular level, genetics also impacts the size of your hair follicles and the number of strands that grows out of each hair follicle. So I'll give you an example, and I've done this before in other videos. If you watch all the videos, thank you. If you have watched all the videos and you haven't subscribed, shame on you. You can subscribe, okay? Put a ring on it. It's time that you put a ring on it because I'm giving it away for free, okay? And not that because I give it away for free, I deserve for you to subscribe, but just subscribe. Yeah, so I'll give you this example. So this is a hair follicle, right? This is a beautiful thick hair follicle, and you have, how many fingers is this? Oh, well, let's go four fingers. This is how thick your strand is, right? I hope it's clear, right? So you got 4 fingers equaling this one beautiful strand because this is the diameter of that follicle. Someone else's follicle may be big enough just to fit 3 fingers worth of a strand, okay? Now, when we talk about follicle miniaturization, we're talking about the follicles slowly getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So when you went from having 3 strands now to 1, that means you have not 3 strands, but I'm saying 3 fingers worth of a strand. Follow me, okay? Because I'm confusing myself. So I hope those of you who are smart understand what the hell I'm saying. Now this, look at how thin this strand is, right? That's it. So when we're saying, let's go ahead and do XYZ strategy to help to, well, first of all, when follicles miniaturize, whatever. I'm not even about to go into, you could go get it back big. It's small, right? But the point is, what you want to do to keep healthy, beautiful follicles, thick follicles, and to keep them where they are, to keep them at 3 or 4, if that's what you have, you want to do all the strategies, right? But at the end of the day, some people are just naturally predisposed to have 2 already. Some are already predisposed to have 1. But if you keep scarring and it keeps closing, now you have none. I hope that made sense because it didn't to me. So genetic conditions also can affect hair growth and alopecia, meaning that certain alopecias are genetically predisposed, like androgenic alopecia. While it is hormonal, it is also very hereditary. So your family may not be telling you that they have, hey, by the way, daughter, you're beautiful and God loves you, and by the way, you're gonna have androgenic alopecia when you're 30. You know, they're never gonna tell you that. One, they don't know, okay? Like most of us don't know what we're walking around here with and what we're genetically predisposed to and what's passed down to us, right? But yeah, you know, thinning can also be genetically predisposed, okay? So let's talk about genetics and hair loss. So that's genetics and hair and kind of like hair growth. Now let's talk about genetics and hair loss. So genetics play a role in hair loss and thinning. I just talked about androgenic alopecia being hereditary, one of the most hereditary. Studies have also shown that variations in the follicle size increases also by genetics, which I just said. And in black women, in us black women, you know, we are genetically predisposed to cicatricial alopecia. Say that fast, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I just go ahead and say CCCCA because triple CA, not CCCCCA. Triple CA because it's a genetic component of, you know, hair loss in black women, and it presents itself first and mainly and mostly as, you know, scarring at the very crown of our heads, and unfortunately as it continues to progress, it becomes a bigger moon root, you know, and it's scarring alopecia, meaning that it's permanent. It can cause permanent hair loss. So genetics and hair care, why is it important? Why should we even care about genetics? Why? Because there's a number of different reasons, and this is me talking to you, right? You should care because, one, I do not want you to have unrealistic ideas about results. Results is completely subjective, right? Results is not about how thick and how long. If you're not walking out here, is it Morticia? I don't know, looking like Rapunzel with that long hair, that doesn't mean that treatment was not successful, right? So if you're undergoing some kind of treatment, whether it's PRP, steroid injections, supplements, whatever kind of hair loss treatment or lifestyle changes you're making to help improve the health of your hair and the growth of your hair and the density of your hair, it will be, that result is going to be respective to your genetics and to your hair. And so it may never be as long as the next person's, right? It may never be as thick as the next person or the YouTuber that has the most beautiful, thickest, longest hair, right? Telling you, well, I just wake up in the morning. I just woke up like this, right? And you could wake up like this too if you're the it girl, right? That's not realistic. And so that's my point here in saying all of this. In general, ladies and gents, you know, you're genetically predisposed to the thickness, the density, the texture of your hair, the length of your hair, all right? But those are the uncontrollables. All right? But let's go back into genetics and hair care. We're going to talk about the controllables, and then we're going to talk about ways to find out the genetics of your hair if you want to find out if you're genetically predisposed, if your grandmom and your mammy and your nana and your grandmom won't tell you, okay? And they don't know to tell you. So knowing the genetic predisposition of your hair obviously helps you to craft a custom hair growth plan based on your specific hair loss concerns. If you know, well, I'm either genetically predisposed to androgenetic alopecia, or I have androgenetic alopecia, or I have this follicle size, or I have this density and this texture, I know which products to use that is going to optimize hair growth, that's going to optimize penetration, that's going to ensure that I am getting the amount of stimulation that I need. There's genetic tests that can also tell you the amount of vasodilation that you have going to your scalp, your follicle. What does that mean? How much blood circulation is actually going to the follicle? Meaning you can't just open, you know, the levees. The levees ain't gonna break and you're just gonna have a whole tsunami of blood going up to your scalp. It don't matter how many essential oils you apply. Some people are more prone to higher vasodilation, higher blood circulation, and blood circulation stimulation. Obviously, you know, because of your genetic predisposition, which is this is very important, preventative measures, preventative maintenance, right? How to treat your hair prophylactically, meaning at the end of the day, I know because I'm genetically predisposed to having traction alopecia or no edges, or my edges are gonna fall out at a certain age, I'm not gonna be putting my hair in all types of ponytails and things that is just gonna keep pulling it back, because that's the controllable, and that will expedite that hair loss. So if it's gonna happen anyway, you go ahead and keep putting it in ponytails, it's gonna happen even faster, and if not, it's gonna happen worse. If not, you're gonna cause scarring to happen much faster. Whereas if you know that you're predisposed to this, you basically can just not do those type of tight manipulative styles, right? Whether it's a ponytail, tight braids, or whatever it is, weaves or certain things that we do, and you can maintain the hair that's on your hair. It's how long can you maintain the hair that's on your head, right, while you're still alive sometimes. That is success. A win is a win, sis. A win is a win. And so let's talk about the controllables. Like, okay, well, we know that at the end of the day, all this stuff, well, if I'm kind of F based on my genetics, then why should I even try? Like, my genetics, if I look at my mom and my mom's mom and everybody in my family, I already know that I'm gonna be, you know, a beautiful bull-headed scallywag. Why should I even try? And the answer is because there are still factors that you can control that will, again, improve your hair's health, your scalp health, improve the rate of follicle miniaturization, improve the retention of your hair, and improve the density. You can have dense hair, but at your rate, right? But respectively to you, but it could be at its densest if you take care of it. If not, then it can be very thin, very fast, very soon, right? So all of that does matter. So here are the controllables. Obviously, environmental factors, exposures to pollutants, UV radiations, harsh chemicals, right? Harsh chemicals in certain products that's going to damage the hair and the effect of hair growth. Diet and nutrition, I talk about this all the time. I'm not living on these methods right here. These are just the controllables. Diet and nutrition. Obviously, if you have a nutritional deficiency, if you're not taking in enough, what's the word that I'm looking for? Protein, if you're not absorbing, if you have malabsorption, whatever, if you're not dieting well, if you're eating sugars and cakes and all the stuff that I like, then yeah, you're gonna have issues, okay? Hormonal imbalances, again, another problem that I have. I just have them all, guys. Hormonal imbalances like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, it affects, and it not being balanced well affects your hair growth. It, you know, hormone levels and endocrine problems, PCOS, etc., can all cause hair loss. But you know, if you are able to properly, you know, manage your hormones and keep them balanced, then you can really give your hair fighting chances, right? If you understand the hormone balance, if you understand which hormones are more favorable for hair loss and hair growth, then you'll know how to balance that. Stress and anxiety. You know, listen, as black people, black and brown people, our experience here on the planet is very, very different. So we handle stress differently. We absorb stress differently. We intake stress differently. There's a lot of different factors that contribute towards us having stress. You know, we just have to find ways to manage our stress. I have a video about managing stress and its relation with hair loss. But of course, the best way that if you can manage your stress, you're not going to shoot up your cortisol and increase telogen and fluvium, which is going to basically increase hair shedding, hair fall, hair loss, and hair thinning, right? There's hair care practices like over styling. Like I said before, if you know that you're predisposed to having traction alopecia, CCCA, other forms of scarring or non-scarring alopecias, or forms of hair loss, you're going to make sure that you are more concerned conservative or moderate in the way that you style your hair. If you're gonna do certain styles that you want to do because you just want to look fly, you want to feel bad, you want to be the baddie with the swoop and the ponytail and the swoop and the braid, you know what I'm saying? You can reserve that for special occasions like a birthday. You can reserve that for, you know, a special thing happening, and then you take it down, you know, within a few days of taking your pictures and doing the thing, instead of it being something that you do every week when you go to the hairstylist because you just love how you look in it and you love the attention that you get. And then of course, you know, medical conditions like hypothyroidism and different conditions, that autoimmune conditions, etc., that you don't have control over, right? That are also genetically predisposed. There are also things that you do have control over, right? If you're anemic, help to increase, you know, which also is hereditary, can be, you know, a genetic thing, a genetic anemia. You can do things to improve that, to mitigate the risk of some of these things, to manage these symptoms, to manage these underlying conditions. And if you manage them properly, then you can still have beautiful, healthy hair on your scalp. So listen, all of that to say, right? The bottom line, there's a lot of cool things in science going on right now when it comes to genetic testing for hair loss and hair loss predispositions to certain hair loss disorders or alopecias and concerns. If you guys are nerds like me, you know, there is a test called the Tricho test. And let me read this. I think this recently launched. Tricho test is a genetic test performed on patients' DNA, including androgenetic alopecia, alopecia areata, and telogen effluvium. These are the main and the most common ones. The genetic test is based on state-of-the-art DNA microarray technology that uses a patented algorithm to provide a personalized treatment algorithm. So in English, what that overall means is that there is this entire algorithm that is based on your genetic predisposition. So the test, go ahead and it pretty much analyzes your genes to see if you're predisposed to alopecia, you know, telogen effluvium, and all these other different things that most of us are dealing with. We just don't know, right? Because we're undiagnosed. We're extremely undiagnosed, and we're just throwing oils and olive oil and whatever not on our scalp. But the beauty about this is once it takes an array, right? It pretty much aggregates. It aggregates all this information about you based on this genetic testing, and it throws out a treatment algorithm based on the type of genetic concerns genetic predispositions that you may have for hair loss treatment. So it's preventative, you know, it's prophylactic treatment, and also like you can't get more granular than that on figuring out what the hell is wrong with you. So listen, at the end of the day, why is this important? And I'm gonna close here. It's important because, one, like I said, it's important to know what results you're really looking for. What results constitute success, right? Treatment success. If you don't see your hair down to your back, like I said, like Rapunzel, it does not mean that treatment did not work and it wasn't effective for you. So you have to understand how results vary for you based on your genetic predisposition. Secondly, you want to understand what you can control, right? What aspects you can control to ensure that you do keep the hair that you have on your head and that is thriving, right? That is still beautiful and abundant, and that you're not speeding up the progression to your hair being what it's supposed to be, right? Or even thinner, or even weaker, or even more brittle. But then, like, lastly, it's good to know what's wrong with you so you can know how to treat it. So I said all of that, baddies, to say, listen, you know, while I don't have access yet to genetic testing so that we can help you, we do have access to vetted hair care professionals, hair regeneration specialists that specialize in skin and hair of color. And I really want you to click the link down in the description box if you are experiencing any form of hair loss, whether it's mild, moderate, or severe, whether you're diagnosed or not, whether you know what kind of hair loss you're experiencing, whether you know the cause, whether you know the diagnosis, whether you know your genetic predisposition or not. If you want to know what is going on, or how to identify the type of problems that you have, or the cause of hair loss that you have, and how to treat it, click the link down below in the description box so that you can get a custom hair growth plan, a customized hair growth plan for you based on the type of hair loss that you may or may not have. Okay, that is what we're doing for the girls here at HairScripts. We are giving you the tea, the education, the edutainment, and then now launched our own products, our own hair growth serum, with 5 different formulas, by the way. I think 4 or 5 different formulas to help you treat the type of hair loss that you may or may not have, okay? I have a whole video that discusses like the power of these ingredients and clinically proven to restore hair effectively and all the stuff, all the things, all the marketing, blah, blah, blah. So go check that video out. And yeah, baddies. So, you know, love the skin, love the hair that you're in, and follow me and meet me at the next video, okay? Bye.